This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
I will start by reporting what I just heard from the Concom folks. And it's great, Joy, that you're with us, because you can put bumpers on what I'm saying or correct me or however need be, or validate it if I actually get it right.
Yeah, does Sarah know what property we're talking about? I guess I just want to make sure.
Oh, my bad. I'm making an assumption. Good point. So, Sarah, we're talking about a property that's over on 354 College Highway,
Okay.
which is, and I can pull up the realtor's view of it if you want and share a screen. But
I'm about to just look at least a Google Maps, so I have an sense of
okay.
it. Oh, it's near Lyman. That's cool.
Yes.
Exactly. It abuts Lyman. It abuts Lyman, and that's hence the reason for reaching out to Concom. And Joy, you saw the property in Concom, so now that you know where it is, Sierra, it's a buildable lot. It meets all the zoning requirements for a buildable lot, and it is for sale as such in the private market. We are interested because it's been for sale for several weeks and not moved. A bug was put in our ear.
And it's less expensive than most acres around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. For that sized lot, it's pretty affordable. You know, it's along a noisy road, but there it is. There are some nice houses right along there. But for our purposes, it's a buildable lot, which is very intriguing. For Concom interests is it abuts their property. So if they were to pursue it, it would, if nothing more, it would just add to their contiguous land. But what's potentially intriguing about the property for Concom is that it's possible there could be a joint venture with this property between housing and Concom, where there's a shared driveway and there's close to the road and, you know, an immediate like pull off where you could make parking consistent to what has been created up at the Clearwater site up at Glendale. And that could be allowed by either working with Concom to actually physically, or not physically, you know, through surveying and everything, carve out some property that would be theirs, or create an easement. And this is information I got from talking to Mark Reed, so that there's access to their property. And what's intriguing about this piece of property is if Concom ever wants to build trails back there, there are none right now. They've owned the property for 50 years. There are no walking trails. It's just sitting there. But if they ever wanted to make trails, their existing property that they own requires traversing a pretty steep ravine with a brook at the bottom of it, stream, to get to the back part of the property. Where with this carve out, you could conceivably, you start at the opposite side of this ravine. It runs diagonal through their property and runs right up to the road. If you ever visit the property, you'll see it. So back and forth we went at Concom, and there was, in the end, there's general interest in collaborating with us. Kathleen Haley and Brittany Taylor are interested in working with us to go to CPC and pursue this. If nothing more, you know, again, for them to have future ease of access to that property. They have access, it's just over a ravine. And for us, obviously, the benefit of that would be, you know, we could ask for, you know, CPC money together, and so we wouldn't be sending all housing authority money on the $109,000 asking price or whatever.
How big is the space of the property?
It's 1.3 acres, so it is greater than the 40,000 square feet required to build there, and the frontage is 200 feet, and the required frontage is 140 feet. So it's a buildable lot.
Do you know what that translates to in like units of living? I don't really have a good sense of how big an acre that is. Could like there be a 4-unit dwelling there or something?
So that's a good question. I don't know the details of, could we put a duplex there, for example? Could we put a
I think for a
condex?
single family home, it has to be at least 60,000 square feet. So I'm doing the math from there. I'm not sure.
60,000?
I think it's 60,000.
Even
So-
for affordable, I don't know if there's
I don't know for affordable. I just know in Southampton, bare minimum, sorry. Bare minimum, at least
60,000?
for residential, I think was 60,000 square feet.
So Mr. Reed told me that was, I forget what zoning area it was, but he said it was 40,000.
Oh, it might be 40,000.
it's residential village, I believe, or residential. It's residential neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
There, I wonder if there is a farm across, right? The street there, like on the other side.
Down the steep bank in the
I don't know.
On the other side of College Highway.
No,
right, there's
I don't
plenty
know.
of houses there. I don't know what
Yeah.
size their lots are, though.
So
I mean, it's marketed by the realtor as a buildable lot. So they would be doing a serious disservice to their clients.
yeah,
and,
no,
and
I'm
a
sure
bait
it's
and
a
switch.
buildable lot. I guess, yeah, going to Sierra's question, like how many units can you put there?
Right.
Yeah, because I'm looking at, so an acre is 43,000 square feet. If the parking lot takes up 40,000, that gives us,
The 40, it won't take up 40,000. The parking lot.
Parking lot should not take up 40,000 square
Oh.
feet.
No,
where did I
these-
get that
these-
from?
These are small lots. And again, I don't know, and this is, we have so little time, and I'll speak for myself, so little knowledge about this, but you could do a carve out, but you also you do an easement, which then I believe doesn't count as subtracting from the square footage of the property, because you're just providing an easement,
Oh, I see.
I think.
But Jim, when you walk the parking lot in Glendale, because they're talking about maybe a 3-car park. So
Right.
How much was the one in Glendale?
So I walked it, at its widest part, it was 45 feet. And so you figure a parking space is 12 feet, maybe. So that's 36, 45. Plus there was a turnout. I didn't tape measure it. I used my feet.
And I know that I talked to Darcy Gasparini, who's a realtor for Taylor, and she said she thought a Comdex of some sort maybe it would be a good fit, but it depends on, so you might be able to get a 2-family in there, or a 1-bedroom or a 3-bedroom house, or
Cool.
Right. And again, my ignorance of the process, but even let's say we wanted to put in a duplex there, and it wasn't zoned for that. There wasn't enough square footage. You could still go to appeals, right? And you would go to appeals as the housing authority in what we're trying to do. That doesn't mean the zoning appeals would approve it, but I think minimally, even if you put 1 unit on there, it'd be nice to have a duplex. So even 1 unit. Right now, our number of affordable owner-occupied units in town is 0. So 1 would increase our number by 100%.
Do that. I'm for it. That's really cheap. 109. That's a pretty sweet deal.
Right. You always worry, so why is it still in the market?
Yeah.
And I can only speculate that builders right now, I'm seeing a lot of pausing in the world of building because materials are so expensive. There's a lot of unknowns.
Makes sense.
And so they're wondering, I think, every builder, I'm not a builder, but you put a lot of money on the line. You think this is a great way to make money. They build houses and they sell them for $750,000. They made a bunch of money. It's their money on the line. And if the market crashes or they don't sell, they've lost their money. So I think there's a little worry with fuel prices going way up and the supply line still not loosening up.
And interest rates going up.
That's right. Interest rates are going up.
Well,
So-
good, better for us. I have one more question. Is there wetlands on this property? Do we know that?
I don't believe so.
No, but according to the website, or was it Darcy who told you this, Janet, that it's been perked twice, so it's perkable.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was
purple.
perked
Okay.
twice. And
Cool.
sometimes they just stick mark it, she said, because I said there weren't any white PVC tubes there. She said, well, they could do it with a different way and not, and they could have gotten knocked over. So, I mean, I'm going by what she's being told by the listing realtor for.
Mhm.
So CPC would work with us to put together a proposal. I mean, Concom would work
Right.
with us to put together a proposal for CPC, and we'd have to put an article together for the town meeting.
Right. We'd have to get CPC's buy-in on this, and that's,
Right.
I think it was I who was supposed to reach out to Virginia. I did not. My bad.
I
This
think we
is-
wanted to vote it in first, Jim, and then, and then go to Virginia.
Yeah. It's a very tight deadline too. And I'm not going to be here next week. So it's for April 6th is the deadline for warrants. Is that correct?
Right, yep.
So the upside of this is, who knows if this property will still be for sale, but it has been for sale. So, and it seems to be a workable property. There seems to be some genuine interest from Concom. There were some understandable reservations, but there's two Concom members again, Kathleen Haley and Brittany Taylor, who are going to reach out and work with us. So I think there's potential. And when I say work with us, they'll probably help us as we communicate with CPC and maybe even write up the warrant. I've never written up a warrant before, so.
Yeah, so we'd have to present it to CPC. Are they meeting the first week of April, Sierra?
Yeah, let me double check.
No.
They usually meet the first Wednesday unless,
I think we're meeting the 3rd is ringing a bell, but maybe that's us.
First Wednesday would be the
Same-
6th.
Yeah, they'd be meeting that after warrants are due.
Yeah.
we could ask.
Virginia would have to agree to an early.
I don't even have it in my schedule yet. It might not be scheduled. Let me look at my town go, see if it's on there.
Thankfully, we have a liaison to the CPC.
And the select board if we need to borrow a
Yes.
day,
Like,
You got your signatures, Joy?
I have to go look. I've
haven't
been
looked.
under the weather and I've been in trainings every weekend and weekend night. But I can tell you after.
Happy to
CPC
sign
meeting
if
has
you
not
need
been
a
scheduled
signature.
yet.
Not been
Yeah, they're not
scheduled?
on the schedule yet. That's weird.
They usually do it. They're not usually quite as on time with that or as early with that as we are, but
Mhm.
it should come out in the next few days. I mean, honestly, it was kind of really lucky that we're so close to the town meeting deadline, because otherwise it's probably be, months before we could make any movement on this and then be sold. It's actually kind
Right.
of great timing.
Yeah, the
In
time
that
is to get
sense.
better.
Well, it'll be
I-
interesting to see what happens.
I know Ed wasn't in today, Jim, because I did include him on the meeting notice, but I understand from someone that he was out today, so.
So are we expecting that we would have a full-fledged application to the CDC by the CDC meeting to present to them?
We'd have to.
We would have to. So, all right then. So I guess we need to find out from the Concom how much help they need from us on that.
Yeah, we would want to do it jointly, right? So,
I think
Okay.
that's the way to go since they're
Yeah.
willing.
Yeah.
so do you have Brittany's information and,
So Joy has graciously agreed because she has everyone's contact information to share.
Yeah, I will share it.
send an email to us?
Yeah. I have to get going because I actually have to address Concom about something.
Okay.
Is there anything? I have a feeling you are going to vote on this, right? You did. Was there a vote?
Shall we make a
I'm
motion?
trying to make a motion right now before you leave.
We need a motion
to move ahead with the acquisition and a request to CPC for funding to acquire the property at 354 College Highway.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay, by voice vote.
Simmons, aye.
Kane, aye.
Sini, aye. It is unanimous.
Now you can run and tell them.
All right. So I will gather up information for Conservation Commission, and then Sierra and Jim, we got to get Virginia to do a CPC meeting sooner rather than later.
Yes, I can reach out to her if we know this is definite, right? So I could reach out to her now and say,
yes,
can we, and are we having a meeting before the 6th?
Yeah,
we have a meeting on the 4th, so if we could do a joint meeting somehow on the 4th,
that's an idea.
Oh yeah,
it's cutting it close though.
All right, I have to get going, but keep me updated.
Okay.
Thank you, Joy. Yeah, so I remain, optimistic, but the devil's in the details. And that's where we're going to need to spend some time with the Concom reps. What do they want? They want an easement? Do they demand a carve out? How much are they willing to, what's that dollar figure that they'd be willing to come out of their quote budget versus ours?
Yeah, and I don't know that they're going to have that all together by, unless they meet again, right?
Right.
I meet on the 4th too, so maybe we can do a 3-way beginning meetings. Chaos.
Well, we have the rest of this week and all of next week, although again, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be here next week. But some means to explore that. I mean, let me ask you this question. Marla, Hank kept mentioning, subcommittees. So can subcommittees meet, and do they have to have a quorum, or they're just a subcommittee? Because we could potentially get a lot of work done in a subcommittee.
If it's not, I think if it's not an officially sanctioned subcommittee, a subcommittee of what? I mean, we're not creating a committee. So if we have a member from us, a member from them, a member from CPC, well,
I'm talking about even before we get to CPC, Janet, Concom and us talking and saying, how are we going to work this? And how are we going to present to CPC? In my mind, and it's just my mind, it's a subcommittee that will report up to the full committee, and that's where the vote takes place. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that that's any violation of, because they're not making any decisions other than recommending. They're making recommendations.
We don't have a quorum of either committee, of any committee either.
That's right. Certainly not of ours and not of theirs, right? And where it becomes, again, public is when the subcommittees report up, which could happen, to your point, on the 4th, so with like a 3-way meeting, or could even, if Virginia says yes, I want to meet, then it's the CPC that's meeting and we're reporting, and so we don't need a quorum then either. Well,
but we have a meeting scheduled for that. I mean, maybe unless.
Well, my small worry about waiting to the 4th is it's 2 days before the warrants due.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. If they want to do it before, but okay.
A warrant's really okay. Let's do it on a Wednesday. Okay, so, that's 2 good working days, and that we could get the warrant started. I mean, I'm sure it's sort of a template that you have to pop some information into, right?
Yeah, I think that
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think that would work with us on the warrant. So I'm not worried about the 2 days to put the warrant together.
Okay.
If everything happens on the 4th, I think we can probably work with Ed and get something together, even if there's a sample warrant that he could send us in advance,
So specifically then, for a adult concrete person like me, other than Sierra reaching out to Virginia and getting Virginia's thoughts and maybe a meeting time, what are our next steps?
I would guess getting together with Brittany, and the other person was whom?
Kathleen Haley. Kathleen with a K, it looks like.
Okay. Haley, H-I-H-A-I?
Haley. Haley. No I that I could see.
Okay. And Brittany Taylor.
Okay, I'm composing email to Virginia right now. And then I'll wait for, outreach in my email about if I need to attend some sort of like work session, writing process meeting, or make any edits to anything.
So can you work with me, Sierra, and Brittany and Kathleen to put the request in for CPC as well?
Yeah, for sure. I can't commit to a specific time yet, but if you send me questions to fill out, drafts to, or if we want to schedule a working meeting, we can make that work for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
I mean, if at least we'll put 110% effort into it. If it doesn't happen, then what are you going to do? But we certainly will get an A for effort.
That's right. And it'll be documented too. It'll be in the minutes, and the attempt was made, which kudos to the work. Right, because even if we get it on the warrant by the 6th and everything, still, when's town meeting? May
3rd, I think, or something.
Right.
May 5th, May 3rd, I forget which year.
So a lot can happen.
But
which is why we need a housing trust.
Exactly. Yeah, we're meeting again on the 30th, right, Sierra, for the trust?
There it is. Yeah, let me make sure it's in my thing before I.
And 9 o'clock on the 30th. So we'll give
9 a.m. housing trust meeting. It's in there.
We'll get you an update, Jim.
9 o'clock.
I know, it's a.m.
Oh, okay. Well, even
honestly,
then,
worse for me, but
yeah. I don't know how you.
Important things are going to make it happen.
I don't know how you make that work, Sierra, but I appreciate it.
Because she's not used. Well, no, never mind.
At least it's virtual. These virtual meetings, I don't think I ever would have ended up joining town government if I had to go to that town hall every single time. Although now, when we go back to that, I'll probably stick with it. But this virtual world is really makes things easy.
It is. It's easy for people to pull together.
Something to think about going forward. We've learned a lot in COVID. There's new efficiencies rather than physically going. It can be a hybrid. We can still do occasional Zoom if it makes sense. To your point, Sierra, it can pull it together. It
all depends on what our governor decides.
Yeah, maybe if he's hearing this from a lot of people, maybe it'll work. He or when is the governor gonna change?
That won't be till January. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is exciting. I feel like I'm missing something, but we just have one agenda. Are we?
Yep. And again, we'll get together. If I get Brittany's email and Kathleen's email, we'll get a 4-way email stream going and try to, and I don't know if Joy wants to be in it or not, but we'll include her.
And if I can, I will, if I can help. I said.
When are you leaving and when are you coming back?
So we're actually leaving very early Tuesday morning, the 29th.
Okay.
I'm not, the night before, I'm not really going to be available to meet on Monday night, the 28th.
I hear you.
Packing and getting ready. It's a big trip. And we're back on that Sunday, the 3rd, I think.
So do you have any gut feelings as far as what Concom would be willing to contribute? I mean, I
don't. But since we're talking about, if it's a physical carve out, it's a pretty small piece, or if it's an easement,
right.
I wouldn't expect them. Again, because they don't have a lot of horses in the race, as I see it. Logically, it makes sense for them to have interest in this because it gives them options in the future. Because doing this, as you and I discovered, Janet, there's quite a ravine there. If they ever want to put trails on that property and make it accessible, it makes a lot of sense to be part of what we're doing. So you have to be really future minded. But the reality is, listening to now a couple members testify to this, they're actually a pretty strong board. They're a lot more of, they were worried about having a quorum and it looked like a crowd compared to what we're used to, right? But there's a lot of work there. So the town has a lot of properties, but they're not all maintained well. Everyone wants walking trails, but nobody wants to maintain them. So the idea of putting in more trails when we can't even maintain what we have, to some of the Concom members, understandably, seemed foolish. It's that this space is more protected rather than recreational. But it is an interesting property to walk. And so that's the way it is now. Who knows what it'll be like 10, 20, 30 years from now. There may be great interest in having trails there. And so you really have to think beyond what you see presently, I think, if you're Concom, about the possibilities and the benefits of having their properties accessible, just not readily the way it stands. This little lot would make it accessible because, as you saw, Janet, the trail would start at the lot, which would be beyond the ravine. I call it a ravine, but it's pretty steep.
It's a pretty steep, yeah.
Yeah.
Easier to go down than come up. You can just roll down. So did they sound very positive? I mean, did they take a vote to support this, or?
They did not. They did not. They agreed that they would have a subcommittee of two, of Brittany and Kathleen.
And they know the time frame, obviously.
Very tight. Yes.
Yep. Okay. And it could be sold between now and the 4th.
It could be.
They could,
or even between now and the town meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what
hopefully, if it is going to happen, they do it before we do all the work. But I don't think the world usually works that way.
So my thought, Sierra, was that we could put a contingency offer in pending town meeting vote if we had to try to secure it.
Oh, they allow that kind of thing?
I don't know. I kind of.
We could at least try.
Might be a Virginia question, right?
Yeah.
Virginia may know.
Well, I mean, I don't know that she's dealt with the purchasing of property so much as the funding of it.
She seems to know a lot of things, but
I think maybe somebody like Darcy or even Ed would probably have a handle.
Ed. Yeah.
But that would, be my wish. Add it to my wish list.
Fair. Okay, well, thank you both. Janet, thank you for arranging the meeting and getting the agenda posted. Much appreciated.
I love those lengthy agendas. So you're going to get the agenda posted before you leave, right?
That's the hope. I don't have a Zoom link yet. I emailed.
I can add the Zoom link anytime. If you post the agenda, I can certainly add the Zoom link afterwards.
Okay, because I emailed Judy. I thought she's the one who sets it up, right?
She doesn't. She sends you the Zoom link information to post, right?
Right. So you don't. That's all you do is email Judy, and she sends it to you, correct?
She sends me the information. And
right.
I copy and paste it.
Right.
Yep.
So I figured that's what. And so I had emailed her about a week ago, and I haven't heard from her. So I just re-emailed last night. And I haven't checked yet because I just got home. So
I think she has to check with Ed because it's his Zoom account.
Right.
Because hers is taken, so he wasn't in today, so she probably won't be able to respond until tomorrow. So hopefully.
Right. But yeah, that's my plan, is to both post it with a Zoom link and then put in the agenda. So you are alleviated of those responsibilities. Okay. That's my plan. We'll see if it happens.
If you don't get the Zoom link, at least post the agenda and then
okay.
You can go from there. And just add to the agenda that we'll be reporting on our MHP meetings for the trust, that you haven't been able to join us.
Fair.
Or just put down in any other business that can't wait till the next meeting, which is my favorite phrase on the agenda. So
yeah. Well,
most others, I stole it. I didn't make it up. So
yes, it's kind of a catch-all wastebasket, but I'm going to add that. Can we take a minute to talk about our agenda for the 4th? Because, in reading the minutes, so Ken's going to send it off. I don't know if Ken's going to attend and report what he's hearing from the state, or if it's too early, or.
Well, if we get this joint meeting with CPC, then only that is probably gonna
It's
happen.
gonna take up a good part of it.
That's
so.
gonna take up, especially if they're, I don't know, I haven't even checked if they usually want to receive an application like a couple of weeks before their meeting, so the members have a chance to review it. But even if they make an exception, I'm sure there's gonna be a bit of discussion.
You know, right, we may have this triple meeting on the 4th. So to your point, Janet, and since I'm going to be out next week, it might be too early to post an agenda.
Well, I mean, we can post it as we learn from CBC and we get maybe by the end of this week. Certainly not now, not today.
Right. And
So, I mean,
can
if it-
agendas be updated once they're posted, or that's it?
yeah, as long as it's, we still have the 48 hours.
48 hours.
Yeah,
Okay.
So, I mean, you can wait. I'm not saying post it tonight. I'm saying, you know, if you, before you go away, just let me know if it's not posted and I'll do the best. And thank you for the recommendations. I resent the minutes out this afternoon. So.
Good. Good. Okay.
Okie dokes. So we
Nice.
can figure out the agenda before you leave. I know where you live.
And you know how to reach me.
And I know how to reach you. Yes.
Yes.
Even better.
And since I have no brain left, you need to know both.
Okay,
Hey, well, thank you both. Thank you.
I make a motion to
you.
adjourn.
Seconded.
Voice vote, please.
Simmons, aye.
Kane, aye.
CDI. Very good.
Right. Have a good night,
All
guys.
right, I'm going to stop the recording.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.